Tonight on News 5 Live, the Citrus Growers Association is tethering on the brink of insolvency amid serious concerns from citrus growers about the fragile state of the industry. John Brisena tells the Prime Minister to reverse a loan write-off to Joshua Perdomo or face legal action from the PUP. House Speaker Laura Longsworth responds to Brisena saying his letter is misleading and the facts are misrepresented. Brisena wrote to the Speaker saying that his constitutional rights were denied when he was prevented from debating alleged voter registration fraud case before Chief Magistrate Sharon Fraser. PUP's Marconi Leal is challenging 6 registration applications in the Belize rural north. Lionel Kelly walks free after the brother of the murderer victim could not recall what happened in 2016. And a sewing facility for unemployed women opens up in Mesa. Details of these stories and more coming up in tonight's newscast. Welcome to News 5 Live for Wednesday, October 16th. I am Marlene Cuellar. We start the newscast tonight with developments in the citrus industry, which continues to find itself on the brink of collapse. For some time, the once thriving industry has been on the decline. And tonight, some 269 citrus growers are in limbo and their employees face unemployment. At the core of the problem is the inability of the Citrus Growers Association to provide even the basic services to its membership because it has essentially gone bust. A lifeline that was predicated by a meeting with the Prime Minister did not come through, and instead they were told to get their house in order. That means working its way up out of indebtedness. But it's a steep climb because creditors are reportedly moving into Crowfoot CGA's assets. Today, News 5's Isani Cayetano headed down to the citrus belt where he found out that the industry is in a state of disarray. Here is the first part of our three-part coverage.
Once a thriving industry that towered above all else as Belize's second largest revenue generator, the citrus industry, as it stands, is but a shell of its former self. Down 5.5 million boxes from a record high of 7.8, production continues to nosedive, and its free fall is the result of poor management from grove to factory.
Probably about 10-14 years ago, the industry was at its peak. I think we were producing around 7.8 million boxes at its peak. And that production has now dwindled in 2019, the 2018-19 financial year. We are down now to 2.3 million boxes of citrus fruit.
At the heart of its decline is the Citrus Growers Association, a representative body with a membership of 269 small farmers. The CGA, which provides essential technical services, is in dire straits, and while the citrus greening disease is being blamed for its financial woes, the problem goes well beyond what is taking place in the orchards.
To me, there are three core issues. One, the need for reality check. Where is the CGA? As you say, in line with its financial status, our creditors, our bankers. Where are the accounts of the CGA? That has not come to the table, I would say, since 2014. So we don't know. The core business of the CGA as a grower service organization is failing its membership. The core business of the association is defunct. And therefore, if you have a grower organization that is not functioning as it's designed to do, you have creditors, members of staff that you owe and cannot pay, then the reality of what you're managing is in crisis. And so if you are unable to accept that reality of bankruptcy on all fronts, then that denial is going to invite disgrace and prolong the agony that we have in the citrus industry.
And that great pain which afflicts the industry is a sharp decline in production, ultimately translating to fewer jobs and significant loss of revenue at the processing plant. Nikita Usher is the Chief Administration Manager at Citrus Products of Belize Limited.
8 million boxes of fruit. The years gone by, we used to run 3 shifts. So it meant that we were running an employment base of close to 1,500 people. Here at 2.5 million boxes of fruit, we're simply only running the factory at 2 shifts. And we don't run on weekends. So you could imagine then, the employees now that used to make substantial money working overtime work, their concerns. Theoretically speaking, 2.5 billion boxes of fruit, CPBL can process that, if all things being equal, can process that in 3 months. It would mean that you would have a 9-month period in which you have absolutely nothing happening.
While the management of CPBL has taken the decision to extend the production period, there are simply not enough oranges being planted in the citrus belt. To make matters worse, the CGA, which is tasked with providing extension services to farmers, is falling woefully short of its mandate, and CPBL has had to take up the slack.
Most of the services which the CGA would provide to growers as a company, we do have the capacity in-house because, of course, of the size. In terms of the technical expertise, the agronomists, the farm managers, the people who work in the factory, the coordination part, the lab, to an extent, the lab portion as well. But the services which the CGA and BCM should be providing, the industry relies on a lot, is in relation to assisting the small farmers.
On September 24th, CGA Chairman Eccleston Irving wrote Prime Minister Dean Barrow requesting a meeting with him. In that letter were several requests, including the establishment of a drought relief program, as well as an annual subvention of $200,000. Anthony Chanona attended that meeting on October 11th and had a different view from what the CGA presented.
The CGA presented several bullet points to the Prime Minister. Those were dealt with over a 2-hour session. But in my opinion, that was business as usual. We need money, we need subvention, we need this, we need that. I think at that meeting, I felt it was my responsibility as an elder of the industry to speak from my heart. And I felt that what we were doing, were ignoring the facts. When you cannot pay your creditors and cannot pay your staff, and you cannot account for what you're managing, then it's a bankruptcy of ideas, a bankruptcy of cash, and a bankruptcy of our institutions. We've lost our way. And so my intervention at that meeting was basically to bail the cat. I called it out for the way I saw it. And it wasn't meant to be disrespectful or in any way combative. We've passed that stage, Isani. We have to find a way to sit down around a table, leave our baggage outside, and put the best interests of the CGA on the table.
Along with the requests was concessionary interest rates and for government to support a petition to the Social Security Board to reduce the interest rate on loan funds to growers from 11 to 6%. News 5 attempted to get a response from CGA's Executive Director, Dr. Eugene Cleland, earlier today, but we were told that they were in a committee meeting. We will have more on this developing industry story in Thursday's newscast. Reporting for News 5, I am Isani Cayetano.
The leader of the opposition, John Briceño, is ramping up pressure in respect of a write-off of a loan of $40,000+ to the son of the cabinet secretary. The write-off was passed in the House and rejected by the Senate last week, but it is not going away. Briceño has fired off a letter dated October 15th to Prime Minister Barrow, saying that the PM misled the public when he stated that the loan to Joshua Perdomo could not be collected because it was statute barred. Briceño also recalls that when the motion was tabled in the House, it recited that efforts to locate Perdomo were futile. But Briceño has found Perdomo. He writes that the young Perdomo resides in Irving, Texas, where he's licensed as a forensic biology screening analyst. Perdomo, discloses Briceño, is employed at the Southwestern Institute of Forensic Science, located in Dallas, Texas. Other details of his home address, asserts Briceño, could easily be obtained from the CAB secretary, who is Joshua's father. Briceño also notes that the loan was supported by Joshua's sister, Sylvia, who is also under obligation to repay the loan, and she lives in Belize. Briceño says the write-off is obscene, should not stand, and is roundly condemned by Belizeans. The leader of the opposition ends by calling on the Prime Minister to reverse the decision, or the PUP will initiate legal action to have the write-off declared unlawful and set aside. After the House of Representatives approved the write-off without debate, it went to the Senate, and 7 out of the 13 senators voted it down, including Church Senator Ashley Rock, who called on the Prime Minister to personally ensure that the $40,000 are recovered. But Attorney General and UDP Senator Michael Parafit says that money bills and money motions cannot be defeated by the Senate. Parafit explained that the Constitution makes it very clear that 13 people who are appointed cannot override 30 people who are elected. Responding to the AG's comments today was Karim Musa, the PUP's area representative for Caribbean Shores. Musa says that the Attorney General is mistaken.
It's very regrettable to hear the Attorney General of our country attempt to explain away something as important as the Senate's voice on this very important issue. He has attempted to argue, Hippolito, that in fact this is a money bill. Now we know money bills are whenever the government is getting a loan and it needs to get approval from the House and that sort of thing, and it does not in that case require the Senate's approval. What we have here is actually the write-off of a bond. And I heard Mr. Parafit also try to argue, and this is the Attorney General of our country, that this is a simple contract. Man, everybody knows that this thing is a bond. And so what it is, what you have here is blatant, brazen nepotism on the part of this government. If you recall, when the Prime Minister presented this bill in the House on the first occasion, they didn't bring up anything about statute of limitation, and which is why that point was never debated. It was not until after he presented that motion and it went to committee that the Prime Minister then raised that defense and said, oh, 6 years have gone and now there's a statute of limitation. That is not what was contained in that motion. What was contained in that motion is that Joshua Perdomo could not be found. That was the only point raised in that motion. Since then, it was subsequently learned that this bond, when we went to committee meeting, this bond was actually signed by a guarantor, his sister, who lives and resides in Belize City. And so the argument could no longer hold water. It could no longer stand because she was easily found. And so they had to then change their excuse and say that it had a statute of limitation which had expired, and we now know that is a complete lie, a complete fraud being perpetrated once again by this government to try to protect a special UDP.
Money motions cannot be defeated by the Senate, according to the AG.
That is a money bill which is completely distinct and different from what we have here. This is a motion to write off, and so the Senate doesn't in fact have the jurisdiction which it has rightly and properly shut down this particular motion. This is not a money bill. And so once again, the Attorney General is wrong again on this issue.
Musa reiterated what Brisenia has said to the Prime Minister, and that is that if the loan is written off without the Senate's approval, the opposition will launch a legal challenge in the form of judicial review.
I want to say this, Hippolito, that in my opinion, this matter has been shut down by the Senate and this matter has not been written off. If the Prime Minister and this government wants to be bullheaded and try to say that it has been written off successfully without the Senate's approval, then I say we have to challenge it by a judicial review. And so there are two legal positions here. The opposition standpoint is that it has been shut down, but if the government wants to be bullheaded in its way, as it normally is, like Mr. Ramit always wants to ram things down, then we will challenge this in a court of law. You see, what the AG failed to realize is that the writing off of bonds is a very, very rare practice.
It is normal.
It is not normal. I don't know where the Attorney General gets that from. When we were at the committee meeting and it was being questioned, when we questioned the financial secretary, he said that he cannot even recall when the last one was a write-off of a bond. He cannot recall when that ever was. And so if we have a financial secretary who has been there since the days of PUP and now into the UDP cannot even recall a write-off of a bond for somebody, then it's very rare, Hippolito. And so it's not that we are going after Joshua Perdomo. We are saying that whenever you write off and you give those nonsensical excuses about he cannot be found, and then another excuse that it's statute barred, you are clearly grabbing at straws in order to protect a special member of the United Democratic Party.
The Belize Youth Movement is calling on all the Belizean youths to rise and demand that their student loans also be written off. The BYM, an arm of the People's United Party, says it is outraged at the actions taken by Prime Minister Dean Barrow to vote in favor of writing off Joshua Perdomo's $40,000 loan. The youth organization says that the government has failed to present a single solution that would benefit all students. Supporting the BYM is Caribbean Shore's area representative, Karim Musa.
There are loads of other Belizeans who cannot get a write-off. If this were an across-the-board write-off for students with loans, then I think we can all accept that, because we have students coming back home who are working in the public service, working off their bonds, and it is not fair to them that this individual is receiving that type of special treatment.
I believe the BYM sent out a press release asking or demanding that the students' loan also be written off.
Yes, and I think that they are totally right. And I commend them for issuing that release, because it cannot be that we are only writing off loans for special UDPs. That is ridiculous, man.
The PUP's standard bearer for Belize Rural North, Marconi Leal, is challenging 6 re-registration applications, believing that those persons gave inaccurate information regarding their place of residence. Originally, Leal was challenging 59 applications, but later abandoned 53. The UDP's Edmund Castro to defend the remaining 6. In court today, Leal, along with Nathaniel Alvaro, testified to convince Chief Magistrate Sharon Frazier why the 6 persons should be struck from the voters list. Representing Castro is attorney Orson Elrington, who told the media that both witnesses' testimonies were inconsistent.
We reminded the court that our position is that there is a presumption that the Election and Boundaries Department has done their investigation and that the person is rightfully on the voters list. The voting franchise, as we would all appreciate, is a critically important right of every citizen, and therefore removing a person from the voters list should be treated with extreme caution, to say the least. It was our submission at the end that both witnesses, one, admitted that they did not know everybody that lives in the constituency. They testified to that on the dock. And secondly, that they were inconsistent. One was inconsistent on cross-examination. And the other one, like I said, is the Belize PUP standard bearer, and therefore he has an interest to serve. And that was our position. He is not a third party without any interest, and therefore his testimony should be treated with that tinge of credibility. I think all of them are from the same village. I don't know if it is the same residence, but again, the evidence presented by the witnesses who have to displace the presumption are based on the same thing, and our position will be the very same arguments. And therefore, I think you were in court and you heard that I said that I would hope that we would be able to deal and dispose of all of these matters on Monday, since it is the very same evidence they would present and it is the very same position that we would hold. And so there should be no difference in the matter.
The Chief Magistrate will hand down her decision on Monday morning. Coming up, the House Speaker says the assertion by the Leader of the Opposition, John Brisenia, that he was denied debate is misleading. Briceño that no one rose to debate the motion when it was first introduced by the Prime Minister at the previous House sitting. Briceño then wrote to Longsworth that her decision to block the debate was a clear denial of his constitutional right and duty as a parliamentarian and as leader of the opposition. Caribbean Shores Rep. Karim Musa says that Briceño was right.
Having seen the Prime Minister's comments publicly after that fact, it ought to have come back for debate. So the party leader is totally right that new matters having been arisen, we ought to have been given an opportunity to debate it, because again the Prime Minister was deceiving this nation and telling us that we only had 6 years to sue, when in fact we had a full 12 years to sue. We still have time to sue.
House Speaker Laura Longsworth responded to Briceño's letter today, saying that his statements are misleading and that the facts are misrepresented. Longsworth tells Briceño that on October 4th, as the 5 write-off motions were moved on Friday, August 16th, and should have been debated forthwith. Longsworth continues to say that she looked on both sides of the chamber and none of the members of the opposition rose to debate the motions. The motions were then referred to the Finance and Economic Development Committee. According to the Speaker, there is no provision in the standing orders for a second debate to take place. Longsworth turns the table on Briceño and says that the letter, quote, sent to me should instead be directed to the honorable members of the opposition for them to provide you with their reasons why they failed to debate the motion on the 16th of August 2019 when the motion was presented. Perhaps they do not fully understand the procedures laid out in the standing orders, unquote. Caribbean Shores Area Representative Karim Musa managed to speak generally on the motion during the adjournment.
What are the standing orders saying in terms of the House? Because the Speaker said that before it went to committee, no one got up and debated.
When it comes back from committee, as I understand it, Hippolito, that is when it is to be debated. But according to the Speaker on that day, it was already for second reading, then it went to committee, and so there was no right of reply, but we still got an opportunity. I was still able to raise that point on the adjournment, and of course in a general way, because the opposition was prevented from raising that very important issue.
Police in Orange Walk are investigating an armed robbery. Lizeni Martian told police that at around 2:30 this afternoon, a man entered Zetro Western Union and he was followed by another seconds later. One of the men held the security guard at gunpoint while the other ordered Martian to hand over the cash. Fearing for her life, she handed over an undisclosed amount of money. The vehicle sped off in the direction of Yo Creek Village. No one was injured. Troy Polonia was shot and killed while holding his infant son at his mother-in-law's residence on Raccoon Street on Sunday night. He was shot twice by an assailant who reportedly fled the scene on foot. Polonia's father happened upon the shooting while on his way home that night and saw his son's attacker as he was running away from the area. Tonight, another killer is on the loose as police are no closer to making an arrest in Polonia's murder. The execution of the young father has left his family distraught, and in speaking with News 5, Troy Polonia Sr. simply wants closure for the senseless murder of his son.
You shouldn't have a chance, man, out of life, you know? And if they ain't corner and I'm mistaken identity, brother, you could say, a lot of people left you was shot, man. Now why you single out my son? I want to know if somebody put a hit on my son. No, and this is why I want to find out. That's all I want to find out. Brother, man, you could text me and tell me I pay you for deal that. Me go there, I just want to know why. Why? 3 letters. And my son not into no kind of foul play. I tell you, check. No, that's the reason why this thing lodge up in my head. I just want to know why. Why if you bring closure? Check. Now we just had to bury for your auntie. Like 6 weeks ago. Now I have to bury my son now. Check it's hard for my lead daughter. My lead daughter I take a lick. My son in 20 days old and 20 years yet. Check my son just reached 19 days in a year yesterday. Dig? You're a humble person. If you go to the club, brother, I want to come out to the club for your birthday, 25th of September. You decline. You just stay home and you relax and all about the son. You dig? So, you know, not chill about it, did he? You know, nothing much.
The murder of San Lazaro, Orange Walk resident Basis Hazid Diaz over the weekend is the most recent and most violent crime that has happened within that community in just over 2 months. Diaz's body was found by a search party in a shallow grave off of Feeder Road. The murder follows 2 home invasions in which the homeowners were physically attacked and their homes burglarized. 2 business establishments in neighboring Trinidad Village were also targeted by armed robbers on September 13th. The incidents have left villagers in San Lazaro fearful for their safety, and as a result, a neighborhood watch group has been organized. Juan de Dios Miguel is the secretary of the group, which will be officially registered this week. He tells News 5 that residents have come together to fight crime.
We formed the neighborhood watch, and from since then we have been active. We have been having nightly patrols. We have Mr. Jose Sosa as the president, Mr. Cain Cal as the vice president, Ms. Aleida Colindres as the secretary, the treasurer, myself as the secretary, and we have 12 other members from each zone because we have zoned off the community. So we have been very proactive in this fight against the crime. The primary role of the neighborhood watch, we want to make sure that San Lazaro is safer like before. 9 o'clock, you still open your doors and having dinner with your family or visiting friends, and we want to have that security again because at this point people are very afraid of even opening their doors like before.
The people that have committed this, is there a suspicion from the community that it's members of the community or other people coming into the community?
So what the people, the community are commenting is that it's a combination of people from the community and people outside of the community.
Miguel says that police has begun patrolling the village. All patrols conducted by the group is also done with the knowledge and support of the police. We understand that similar efforts are being carried out in Trinidad and August Pine Ridge villages, and the hope is to form a network among the communities. In the South, retired Rural Development Officer Santiago Pop was also murdered over the weekend. The 58-year-old was chopped to death inside his house sometime between Friday and early Saturday morning. His body was discovered inside his house in Cowpen village around 6:30 on Sunday evening. When we spoke with village chairman Victor Juarez, he told us that for the past month, there have been several crimes committed in the village, but the Pop murder has left the community shaken. He says that the escalation in criminal activities is concerning. One of the issues that are repeatedly brought up by villagers is the lack of streetlights in the village. According to Chairman Juarez, only about 20% of the village has streetlights, and many of the crimes that are being committed are in streets that are poorly lit or that have no light at all.
So very concerned. Over the past month, there have been several incidents that could be classified as criminal incidents, including thefts, breaking into houses, and others that they're a little bit more serious to be mentioned. But what their concern is that they're worried that out of 1 month, the village is changing its peaceful status into that of a concerning area where the incidence of crime seems to just be escalating rampantly, out of control, and they're really concerned as to what is the way forward. We've been in touch to try to follow on how we can improve our public lighting facilities in the village, and representatives from BEL have shared their willingness to work along, and I have been around trying to gather the numbers on the silver plates that is being labeled in some of the light posts, where we as community members or village leaders would want to solicit the assistance of BEL to provide us with some more street lamps to increase the lighting during the night. And out of that experience, I would be confident enough to state that our lighting facilities within the area would be 20% or less. So we do really think that increasing our lighting facilities within the community can certainly be a starting point. It can't really solve the situations completely, but at least it can increase the level of confidence, and it can reduce, the incidence of crimes in our community.
Alleged murder suspect Lionel Kelly walked free on Tuesday after his attorney Simeon Sampson made a no-case submission, which was upheld by Justice Colin Williams. The justice agreed that the Crown could not prove the charge of murder against Kelly. The Mayflower resident was charged for the July 26, 2016 murder of Tevin Palmer, who was executed on Castle Street in broad daylight. Palmer was shot as many as 5 times and succumbed at the KHMH. Prosecutor in the case, Portia Stain Ferguson, tried to get Palmer's brother to cooperate and tell the court what he told police after the murder. But on the stand, Peril Palmer could not remember or recall anything about the day in question and claimed he never gave police any statement in the shooting of his brother. Stain Ferguson asked the court's permission to call the police to confirm the statement, but that was denied. In the end, all Palmer would say is that his brother died from a gunshot injury 3 years ago. But in a 2016 statement to the police, he reportedly gave a detailed account calling names of persons involved, including Kelly, but in trial he was not forthcoming. The trial by judge without jury began last week before Justice Colin Williams. About a week and a half ago, former City Administrator Candice Miller won a case against the City Council for wrongful termination. The current PUP administration believes that Miller was derelict in her duties in 3 instances back in 2018 when there was a changing of the guard at City Hall. Miller was first suspended and then sent home. But the court ruled that she was wrongfully terminated and awarded her approximately $440,000 in compensation and costs of court. It is money that the City Council says it does not have to spare, and the 21 days in which an appeal can be filed is fast approaching. So will they appeal the decision of the court or make the hefty payment to Miller? That's what we asked Mayor Bernard Wagner today.
Our attorneys are ensuring and crossing the I's and crossing the T's to ensure that if we do go that route, that we do have a winnable case. And so we have, I believe, 21 days to file that appeal. We'll take our time in ensuring that we make the right decision. But at the end of the day, any decision that is made will be, again, about the people. The people will be the force behind us. And any decision that is made will.
Sir, if the decision made is to take the route to actually compensate Ms. Miller, where is the council in terms of its finances to be able to pay close to $500,000?
Again, that's a long way from here. My good friend, is a long way. I have not even contemplated that area there.
But as the issue of compensation to the former city administrator looms over the council, there's still another elephant in the room. A $1 million claim by Belize Waste Control is pending, and the council is nowhere close to addressing it. Belize City Mayor Bernard Wagner sidelined that question, but stuck to the issue that the council is functioning and carrying out its mandate.
Again, we have not even begun to contemplate looking at that matter. Right now we are focusing on whether our case, if we do appeal, will have footing.
But the judge was clear. Contract is a contract is a contract.
Good morning, good evening. I can't discuss the case, Champ. I can't discuss the case.
but sir, essentially
I don't want you to be called and stand as well as a witness.
Essentially what residents are questioning is whether the council is able to perform its duties, to perform its mandate, as well as honor these rulings, these debts, whatever.
Well, we have been meeting our obligations on a monthly basis, and again, without any sort of financial contribution from GOB, and that in itself, in my view, speaks to the prudent manner in which we have been running this council.
After the break, a community center opens in the mess up to assist women to generate income.
For those who like to have unlimited options in life, don't let limits hold you back.
Prepaid and hybrid customers can
personal fulfillment, financial independence, but also tremendous frustration when
to miss. Come to the Bliss Center every Tuesday night at 8:30 and have a great time as this year's contestants compete for the grand prize of $10,000. There'll be lots of fabulous giveaways, and every Tuesday night you get a chance to win $100 cash. That's right, Zetro International will give away $100 cash to one lucky audience member. The fun and excitement continue with Ozzy the Clown and musical entertainment by No Fair DJs. So make it out to the Bliss every Tuesday night at 8:30 and enjoy the music show everyone's talking about. Get your tickets at Channel 5 on Coney Drive, 88 Shopping Center, and Smart Office on Albert Street. KTV Latino Season 4, it's hot, it's live, and it's only on 5.
KTV Latino.
Single and unemployed women of the Mesopotamia Division will be able to take on sewing to generate income for themselves and boost economic activity in the division. Today, a center was opened in the division, creating new opportunities to the women. The PUP standard bearer, Dr. Candy Spitz, says the facility is one through which women can become self-sufficient. News 5's Dwayne Moody reports.
Traffic was impeded for a few hours today on a stretch of Collett Canal from Pound Yard Bridge to the terminal, as a Mesopotamia Community Sewing Center for Women was launched. The facility will be accessed by single mothers and women from the smallest division in Belize City in the hopes of boosting the economic status of the community and its residents. It's the brainchild of City Councillor Dr. Candy Spitz, who is also the standard bearer for the People's United Party for MESOP.
The work that we have been doing in the Mesopotamia constituency so far has exposed us to some of the concerns and the needs of the residents of this division. Many of them are complaining about the lack of employment. And so we have thought about what industry, what factory could be most effective in this constituency. And many of them have been asking for an initiative such as this. And so we decided to invest into it and to reach out to the residents to see if this is something that they could work with at this moment.
The project is being funded by several partners, and both Dr. Pitts and Mayor Bernard Wagner did not share the value of the venture. Wagner, however, says that it falls in line with their prospectus on being a council that is for the people.
We take care of the entire city, and Candice, this is Candice's initiative. She's, as you know, aspiring to be the standard bearer for this area. And we felt that our good project, it's symbolic of our brand of being all about the people. And this will change the whole narrative in this Mesopotamia area. And so we support it. And we'll continue to support initiatives that take this mentality out where people are empowered. We want them to be empowered rather than hands-on.
So what would you say to comments that people are making that this may be just a political strategy or a political stunt by the PUP just to get foothold exactly for Ms. Spitz?
Well, people obviously will always have their opinion, but we know at the core of all these initiatives that we are about the people. We have throughout the past 18 months driven projects and policies that speaks to social infrastructure. The previous council may have dealt with a lot of physical infrastructure, but at the end of the day, there are people.
News 5 has been informed that the facilities will be up and running effective Thursday, and many women living in the division can take advantage of the opportunity.
At this point, we are catering primarily for single and unemployed women, young and old, to help them to generate their own income, to be self-sufficient and to feel a sense of self-empowerment through generating their own income. Their training has begun. We start from the assumption that they don't know about sewing, or they probably just need to refine the skills that they have. So we will provide training for them for up to 4 weeks, and then after that they will start to produce.
There's no cost to the participants. The only requirement is for them to be committed and disciplined in the project. Dr. Pitts says that the intent is to tap into the clothing industry and possibly manufacture cultural attire to be sold in Belize and elsewhere. Dwayne Moody for News 5.
These days, City Councillor Dr. Candy Spitz has been on the ground in Mesopotamia, which is considered a stronghold of the United Democratic Party under Senior Minister Michael Finnegan. Finnegan is stepping down and is grooming understudy, the son of the Prime Minister, Shine Barrow, to take over the reins in the division. Today, Pitts was asked about the pulse of the people in the division and if she has a fighting chance.
I have not been receiving resistance. I would not characterize it as such at all. I think that the people of Mesopotamia have been very receptive. One, because we come with a level of work that is just very genuine, and sincere about helping to develop this community and helping to address the many concerns and needs of this constituency, which is one of the smallest constituencies, as you may know, in the city. But every day we witness the physical decay, and it's just really a stone throw away from the center of the city. It needs much development, and that is something that we are trying to address and contribute here.
Mesopotamia is considered a safe UDPC. It has been for a number of terms. How do you What's your strategy on trying to penetrate what looks to be like a UDP garrison in Mesopotamia?
You characterize it as such. I mean, and I don't want to rob you of that opportunity to interact with the residents of Mesopotamia on that level and to really find out how they feel, because that is what we have been hearing on the ground. You may be surprised. You may think that it's a stronghold. When you hear from the residents, you may be surprised.
Candy Spitz came to the political scene in 2018 when she ran and won her seat as councillor in the Belize City Council under the PUP banner. Now, Pitts is aspiring for higher office and first set her eyes on Port Loyola. But that opportunity was shut down and Gilroy Usher Sr. was endorsed by party leader John Briceño in the constituency. In May of 2018, Pitts lashed out at the party leadership after being asked to step aside. But does she now have a change of heart since she wants to represent the mess-up?
When you were offering yourself for Port Loyola, you had accused the leadership of the PUP of placing a ceiling on your political career, that you were not being welcomed to go any higher than municipal government. Do you still hold that same view, or have you revised since?
I think that the party leader has made great effort in trying to include women, more women, and also new blood, into the PUP as well as the political arena here in Belize. I have been allowed to contest the general election here as the PUP standard bearer in Mesopotamia, and also it was through that effort that he had considered me as to be one of the senators of the PUP.
When we come back, Hand in Hand Ministries delivers another house to a new homeowner.
KTV Latino, you can vote for your favorite contestant by using your Digiphone or your smartphone. Digi users will text only the contestant's number and send to 5888. Each text sent is equal to 1 vote, so text as many times as you want. Smart users will text the number of votes followed by a space, then the contestant's number and send to 5885. Here are this week's contestants.
Oye mujer, yo solo quiero darte un beso, no más. Quien se pueda rendir por fin y que corra la historia sin rencor. Ni tu amigo, ni tu amante, ni tu perro, ni tu hombre. Que coma mucho cuzuco, así como su papá, pa' que sea un buen semental, así como su papá, y que coma mucho garrobo pa' poderlo ver.
Me va, me va, me va, me va, me va. Hacer amigos, andar caminos, me va, me va.
Si tú no estás junto a mí, no puedo cantar.
Remember, voting ends on Sunday at midnight. KTV Latino Season 4. It's hot, it's live, and it's only on 5.
KTV Latino.
Hand in Hand Ministries handed over its 32nd house for this year. The new home was built in Ladyville, and the keys were presented to the owner this afternoon at a handing over ceremony. The house was funded by the Heritage Bank. Reporter Andrea Polanco shares more in the following story.
Leslie Andrea Smith accepted the keys to her new home with tears of joy. She's the new homeowner of a 2-bedroom house in Ladyville. The house was gifted by Heritage Bank through the Hand in Hand Ministries. The Heritage Bank funded the construction of the home at a cost of almost $18,000, and their staff helped to build it. Managing Director of Heritage Bank, Stephen Duncan, says the project, the third of its kind with Hand in Hand Ministries, is rewarding in many ways.
We were trying to find an organization that we could partner with to do community service. And we wanted something where staff could be involved. For us, it was not just about giving money to somebody and say, here. We felt that we wanted staff to feel a part of it and to develop that attitude of sharing with others. And so we wanted to find something that could involve the staff, not just giving money. We do that all year. All kinds of organizations come and ask you for donations. And we ended up finding Hand in Hand Ministries. It's a bigger value for us, and it is really staff morale.
Yeah.
Coming out like this where we are able to interact with each other at a different level, in a different setting other than work. When you see your staff members in that kind of setting, that way, it makes a difference how they interact with each other. They get back to work the following day. This is a topic. Yeah. Everybody's saying, boy, you miss out, you didn't go, and that type of thing. That is building staff morale in a very real and tangible way that you can't pay a consultant to do that. Yeah. Also, you see where the money is going. You see how you're helping a person in a very tangible and real way. And you see the actual joy on the face of that individual.
And Leslie Smith was a very happy and proud new home owner today when she officially received her house.
I'm always a smiling person, you know. I know that I got this home, I will be even a more smiler person than before, because I am blessed with this by the good Lord. He blessed me with a 2-bedroom house for me and my family.
How many people will benefit from this house?
4 of us will benefit from this house.
How have you contributed to the building of this house?
By working. For the past 3 days, we've been working in the rain, the mud, the sun. Nothing didn't stop us to complete this project.
Smith's house marks the 395th house of its kind built in Belize. This is the 32nd house built for this year. The Hand in Hand Ministries led the project from beginning to end.
and it took 3 days for this house to be built.
The initiative started on Thursday, and by Sunday it is completed. But I'm talking, when I say 3 days, I mean work hours. Yeah.
From ground up.
From ground up. It starts basically with the preparations. Of course, family has to prepare their land. Once the volunteers are in, then the construction start. They do foundation, and the house basically comes with, it's a full house. It comes with interior painting. It comes with a bathroom that includes plumbing and septic. It comes with 2 bedrooms, kitchen and hall, a space.
Reporting for News 5, I'm Andrea Polanco.
The Belize Scout Association held a pile driving ceremony today on site of where its new headquarters will be built. The Sir Colville N. Young building will serve as the Scout Association of Belize's first ever base, which will include a conference room and a Scout supplies shop. As we showed you back in February of this year, the Embassy of Taiwan donated $200,000 to the cause. While the Belize Scout Foundation is leading the charge with fundraising and overseeing the construction, the building will be used for the work of the National Scout Association. Today we stopped in at the ceremony and found out what the building means for the association.
It's a very historic moment for us. It's very exciting for us. We come from a long history of not owning our own building, and with this first pile that was driven in, it's one step closer to owning a very home for the Scout Association. Having our own home, having an entire building for ourselves, now really puts us in perspective as to how best we can shape and design the interior of it as for it to be more effective and efficient when it comes to bringing scouting to the country of Belize.
It's really a very unique building. It looks similar to the Coast Guard building that is on the George Price Highway. It will be elevated. The ground floor, or the floor where the offices will be at, will be about 15 feet above sea level. The ground floor is 5 feet above sea level. It will have a very solid foundation so that we don't have any settlement. It's roughly 4,600 square feet. We had estimated about $150 to $175 a square foot. We are going to go spend a little more to make sure it's hurricane proof. That way the windows can withstand the hurricane force winds. You know, in a hurricane when everybody's leaving and stuff, sometimes they forget to secure up the building. So we want to make sure it's very safe in hurricanes. It has all the offices that the Scouts will need, has a conference room, has a Scout shop. It's very important for the Scouts to have their shop where they get supplies for camping and all the necessary items for Scouts. The upper floor is a roof. It has a very slight pitch, but Scouts will be able to assemble up on top, up to 300, I would say, would comfortably be able to sit down and attend seminars or do functions up there, even marching. It's a very solid structure, and we put a lot of work into the planning along with the Scout Association of Belize, because it's their building, so we need to know exactly what they need. So we did our best to put everything that they requested into this budget that we feel we can manage.
The estimated cost of the building is $700,000 to $750,000. So far, the Endowment Foundation has acquired close to $250,000. Those monies represent just a fraction of what is needed to complete the building. That is, for the foundation and a 50% deposit for the structure to be assembled. The foundation is looking for the business community and public's assistance for donations to put towards the project. Coming up after the break, children to take over the House. That is Parliament for one day.
With over 100 years of
afford to miss. Come to the Bliss Center every Tuesday night at 8:30 and have a great time as this year's contestants compete for the grand prize of $10,000. There'll be lots of fabulous giveaways, and every Tuesday night you get a chance to win $100 cash. That's right, Zetro International will give away $100 cash to one lucky audience member. The fun and excitement continue with Ozzy the Clown and musical entertainment by No Fair DJs. So make it out to the Bliss every Tuesday night at 8:30 and enjoy the music show everyone's talking about. Get your tickets at Channel 5 on Coney Drive, 88 Shopping Center, and Smart Office on Albert Street. KTV Latino Season 4, it's hot, it's live, and it's only on 5.
KTV Latino.
Do more this October with our spooktacular Next Gen deals. Enjoy 1 month free on any of our services and get free reconnection.
A port with a global perspective.
A FIFA-sponsored beach soccer course is underway at the Football Federation of Belize headquarters in Belmopan. About 21 coaches from across the country are actively taking part. The Train the Coaches exercise is to provide the basic techniques and strategies of beach soccer, which the FFB will venture into as part of its official program come 2020. For the first time this year, the National Beach Soccer League was successfully organized, and now the federation is getting coaches certified in beach soccer. The course involves both theory and practical elements. News 5 spoke with the Brazilian FIFA beach soccer instructor Alexander Suarez and FFB's technical director Philip Marin.
The course focuses on the philosophy of coaching, the role of a coach, and also the fundamentals, elements of techniques and tactics, focusing on beach soccer.
Talk to us about the importance of this. We have seen where the FFB has also begun the process of including beach soccer as part of its mandate.
This is the first beach soccer course for the Football Federation of Belize. This course is important for us because we have been running beach soccer local courses, also participating in official FIFA and CONCACAF matches without having certified coaches, certified instructors dealing with beach soccer. So with this course, the instructor, the local coaches will be able to impart, share what they have learned with their different region and also with their teams.
The goals of the course is develop of the beach soccer across the world, and Belize is an important culture for the beach soccer because amazing beaches here in Belize have a big potential for the players. So the goals here is give to the guys my experience, the experience of FIFA in the sport, about the technique, tactical system of the games, type of the defense, so different points.
36 children have been preparing to participate in a children's parliament to commemorate the 30th anniversary of the Convention on the Rights of the Child next month. The event is to have children demonstrate two key rights: to share their opinions and to take part in matters relating to them. The Children's Parliament will be held on November 20th in the House of Representatives. The children will debate a national development issue, and they will take on the roles of those in the House, such as the Speaker, Mace Bearer, the Clerk of the National Assembly, and the 31 seats in the House of Representatives. To prepare for next month's proceedings, the children received training sessions in public speaking, debate procedures, as well as parliamentary procedures and standing orders of the House. They will be hosting another preparatory session to get ready for next month. Here's a snippet of one of the practice sessions inside the House.
Honorable Member Corazalbi said that corporal punishment is the most effective form of discipline. However, he does not even have proof to back up his statement. Honorable Member Kyle Central said, one slap, one pinch, Mr. Speaker. We all have stated that corporal punishment has negative effects. The ruling party has stated that corporal punishment only uses one slap, one pinch. How are we even tolerating talking about one slap, one pinch? What country would Belize be, Mr. Speaker?
And that's the news. Don't forget that tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Marlene Cuellar. Thanks for joining us, and from all of us here at News 5, good night.